What's up, losers? Today I'm bringing you more r/fatlogic shenanigans. Because why not? This is episode 24. Impressive, right? But without further ado, let's get into these posts.
How do you stay body positive and comfortable in your body when you have health conditions that doctors/society tell you are linked to your weight?
I do research to see whether they're correct about that particular connection. Usually they are not, and are making the rookie mistake, as so many have before them, of thinking that correlation equals causation. Fatness correlates to all kinds of things, but in some cases it's the issue that causes the higher weight, not the other way around.
Oh my god, the smug arrogance of this one is just insufferable. Imagine just dismissing the opinions of the overwhelming majority of doctors by suggesting that they've made the rookie mistake of not understanding the difference between correlation and causation. Like, how far would you have your head up your own ass to think this way, to be like all these highly trained experts in an extremely competitive field? Nah, they're just dummies. Thank goodness I'm here to teach them basic statistics. Give me a break. I guess this is how people end up believing stuff like climate denial too. Right, if you're able to just dismiss the scientific consensus reached by the majority of experts by saying that they're basically idiots who don't understand statistics, and you pick out the scattered research that contradicts this consensus, ignoring the obvious vested interests these researchers often have in rejecting the majority view, then I suppose you can convince yourself to believe just about anything. Even flat Earth theory would be on the table. It's especially frustrating to see this kind of messaging being offered up to someone who is clearly in dire need of some brutal honesty. Like, the initial poster is basically seeking validation that it's okay for her to ignore her doctor's advice. And this clown comes riding on in to give her all the approval she needs and more. It's hard enough to convince people that they need to make drastic life changes under the best of circumstances. But with a fat acceptance yes man waiting around every corner, the task becomes almost impossible. I wish people would just stuff up their own lives by refusing to accept reality, rather than having to bring other people in on their self-destructive delusions. But I suppose that's just not the world we live in.
Whenever I see a poorly dressed thin woman, I feel like it's a full-ass attack, 'cause I look good as frick. Despite the limited options for doll fatties, you literally have all the options. So like, what the frick is up?
This post is just classic fat logic. First comes the victim complex, where other people merely existing is somehow a full-ass attack on fat people. The clothing that other people choose to wear can't just be a choice that they've made, with no wider implications. It has to be somehow linked back to fatphobia. Size. I feel like if the thin woman was well dressed, this person would take that as an insult too. She'd be like, wah you're rubbing it in my face that thin people have more clothing options, wah. I guess thin people will just have to walk around naked to appease her LMAO. Ultimately, these people don't just live their lives, and happen to identify fat phobia around every corner. They, knowingly or unknowingly, conjure up these supposed instances of fatphobia out of nothing. I guess to deal with the deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. Or maybe they just have too much time on their hands, haha. After the victim complex comes the narcissism, where the poster also feels the need to embarrassingly boast about how good she looks. Which is honestly ultra cringy whether she's actually attractive or not. But perhaps the more insidious narcissism lies in how she completely disregards any possible reasons someone might have for dressing the way they do on any given day. Maybe the woman was in a hurry and couldn't find her favorite clothes. Maybe she spilled something on 'em and she had to get changed into whatever was lying around. Maybe money is tight and she can't afford anything better. Maybe she just has different style sensibilities to you or wants to communicate something different through what she wears. It just seems kind of mean and judgmental to me that someone would take note of everyone they think is poorly dressed like this, and then gleefully post about how much better they look on social media. Like, obviously I'm not saying this post is the crime of the century or anything. It's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. But would I want to hang out with someone like this? Absolutely not.
The weird thing is that they assume we haven't. Nah bro, I've been dieting and pursuing weight loss since I was 10.
I had thin friends who were complaining about how they needed to exercise and eat better for their health. I described my routine and they were shook. I did more exercise in a day than they did in a week. I ate much healthier and smaller portions, but you can't fight genetics.
Exactly that. And I eat so much less than all the persons I know. But doctors are like, no secrets. You have to reduce calories. Like what the frick?
Size. Why do we play this game? If your friends are thin, and you are fat, then you're not eating less and exercising more than your friends are. It's not just genetics. What I find particularly vexing about these kinds of claims is that they deliberately frame it in a way where, if you don't accept their implausible claims, you're calling them a liar and it's a personal attack. In reality, I don't know whether these people are lying. I've never met them and know nothing about them. My instincts tell me that in lots of cases they probably aren't lying. They have just failed to count their calories properly. In this example, I acknowledge that the confusion could also partly be coming from the thin friends misreporting what they're eating. Either way, there is a degree of error entering into the calculations somewhere. But instead of trying to work out what the problem is, to figure out how they might be overestimating calories burned through exercise or underestimating calories consumed, they just throw up their hands and say that it must be that they have uniquely terrible genetics, which is both lazy and ignorant. And then, to top it all off, they get mad at the doctors for actually doing the job and not just going along with their self-indulgent BS. Talk about shooting the messenger. To conclude, I'll circle back and respond to the initial post. Maybe it's wrong of people to assume that you haven't tried dieting just because you're fat, but equally, it's wrong of you to assume that just because you tried dieting and failed. Dieting is impossible, your genetics are so bad that the situation is hopeless. And anyone who tells you otherwise is just a fat-phobic hater. Have a little humility. Consider with an open mind the idea that just trying to diet is not enough. You have to actually diet right, work out your maintenance calories, and make sure you're consistently coming under that number. Work out the calories for each meal, snack, and drink, weigh food if you have to, and actually calculate the calories you're burning from your exercise rather than just assuming that it's a lot. Because speaking from experience, you never burn as many calories as you think you do. Don't worry about what your friends are doing. They're irrelevant. Any comparisons you try to make are only going to cloud the issue at hand, make you doubt yourself, and make you want to give up if the results come a little slower than you would like. So just focus on you. And make absolutely sure that you're getting things right before you come out and blame everyone else for your failures. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the posts and my commentary. What do you think? Is it really just genetics? Are thin women who dress poorly attacking fat women? Are doctors just too dumb to understand basic statistics? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Or I'll wear clothes so ugly that you'll weep over my undeserved thin privilege. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.